Alright fellas, we are back with another Mortal Kombat 11 video, and this video is going to be analyzing the Mortal Kombat X character endings and which ones I think are going to have an influence on MK11's story. Now before I start this video wouldn't have been possible if the idea wasn't brought up by Vinicius Prada. I asked you guys to drop some MK11 video ideas, and Vinicius Prada suggested that I analyze the Mortal Kombat X endings and which ones I think are canon. So when I saw that, I sat down and I just thought, damn, that's a really good idea. Why didn't I think of that? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Sorry if I butchered your name, by the way. I'm not the best with names. But thank you so much for the idea. I really appreciate it. Anyways, let's get it going with today's discussion. So, a big highlight and probably the main highlight of the overall Mortal Kombat X endings is the new Mortal Kombat tournament between Raiden's forces and Kotal Khan's forces, Outworld versus Earthrealm. The character endings where the tournament comes into play are for Raiden, Kotal Khan, and Bo' Rai Cho, and I'll give you a summary of their endings in chronological order. Beware of spoilers ahead. So Raiden decides that attacking possible threats instead of being more defensive is the best way to go for Earthrealm's safety. So the first threat he seeks out is Outworld and Kotal Khan's forces. With a Shirai Ryu by his side, he defeats Kotal Khan and his forces. After that, Kotal Khan requests the Elder Gods to help him stay in power in Outworld. The solution the Elder Gods gave Kotal was that a Mortal Kombat tournament shall be held every decade to defend against Raiden's forces and with Kotal Khan's greatest warriors. Since the Mortal Kombat tournament has been established, Bo' Rai Cho decides that he must participate in this tournament on Outworld's side, as it is implied that he does not approve of Raiden's vision of attacking another realm and act dominant over it. So while in Outworld, he trains Kotal Khan's warriors to prepare for the tournament, and as a result, Outworld wins the tournament and Raiden can no longer attack Outworld, and the friendship between Bo' Rai Cho and Raiden is no more. That was a pretty quick explanation, wasn't it? Well, that's because that's basically all there is to it. Now, many people believe this is how Mortal Kombat 11's story will be, and while I do think this Outworld vs Earthrealm tournament deal will play a factor in the next game's story, I don't think that's how MK11's overall story will be for these reasons. One, looking at all of these endings that involve the tournament, we already know how this little tournament story ends. Again, Outworld wins. Why would MK11's story be about something that we already know and have basically seen? It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, I don't think this will be ignored at MK11, because when I did a podcast with my two friends, Ishirose and Razor from the Nethercast, it's up on the channel by the way, Razor brought up a pretty possible point that made me believe that it could very well happen, which is that MK11 may start at the end of that tournament, much like how Injustice 2 starts at the end of Brainiac's destruction on Krypton, and MKX starts at the end of Shinnok's attack on Earthrealm, and MK9 starts at the end of Armageddon, all of which are a result of a big battle, and I think the tournament may be MK11's big battle at the start of that story. We also see Rain, Tanya, Ferritor, Ermac, and Reptile, and Aaron Black on Kotal's side, and that may be the established reason as to why they are on the roster and they're returning again for MK11 if they do end up on the roster, which I think they will. Especially Rain, because I think NetherRealm knows that not adding Rain in MKX was a big mistake. So I think they said, oh, well, let's tease that he's going to be in MK11 by putting him in an ending where he's participating in the Outworld tournament, and that'll justify why he's on the roster. And hey, if that's the case, I wouldn't really complain. I think that would be a very smart move. That's what I think about the whole Earthrealm vs Outworld tournament in the endings in MKX. Those are my overall thoughts on how they're going to play out in MK11. But I'm not done yet with the other characters, because I believe other character endings will be canon in some way for the next game. In a flashback in Mortal Kombat X, Kenshi tells Takeda that he will train him to fully master the family gift that they have, which is telepathy, an ability Takeda does not know he has during that flashback. As we know later in the story, Takeda has learned how to use telekinesis, but hasn't fully mastered it. So once he does master telepathy, them two together will hunt down the Red Dragon. The Red Dragon is led by Dagon, who is the killer of Takeda's mother and Kenshi's wife, Suchin. This event was played out in both Kenshi and Takeda's ending, and yes, I'll explain them both chronologically. Using Special Forces tech, Takeda was able to find the Red Dragon headquarters, leading him and Kenshi to go there and deliver justice to Suchin's killer. During their time at the headquarters, they came across the cave where Kara was in, who was Dagon's protector dragon. Carl tells them who Suchin's killer is, and tells them that someone else also has a reason to confront Dagon, so he transports them to another cave where Taven is located, and both of them free Taven to have him come along with them and confront Dagon. Once they do, they kill Dagon and avenge the death of Suchin. Now, I do fully believe this will play out in the story of MK11. Now, you may say, and understandably so, but Brusk, if you said it's pointless to show the Outworld tournament because the whole thing was shown, wouldn't this be pointless too? My response to that is that I think it's just fine to include this whole thing because it's not going to be what the whole story is about, it's just a small subplot. Also, if you have established in MKX that Kenshi and Takeda are going to find Suchin's killer, you kind of have to play that out in the next game because it doesn't happen in the actual story of that game, and Takeda's training is gonna happen anyways. Also, if Taven and Dagon are both awake, that would mean Blaze has to come into play and sort of get the Pyramid of Argus ready to go. You sort of have to show that on screen because that's a pretty big deal. It also falls in line with the rumor of MK11 taking elements from Armageddon and Deception, and this whole thing relates to Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I don't know exactly how this will play in Mortal Kombat 11, some things may change, but you seriously have to do something about Taven and Dagon both being awake, because that triggers very important things. Another ending that I see becoming canon, but I don't think will be very integral to Mortal Kombat 11's overall story, is Liu Kang's ending. Liu Kang's ending basically states that he assumed Shinnok's throne in the Netherrealm because his fighting skills were the best fit for the throne, and that he has plans to conquer other realms using Netherrealm's forces. Now, that does seem pretty big and could happen in MK11, but I don't think it will play a big part in the next game for these reasons. Liu Kang and Kitana were the first ones to receive the warning from Raiden himself that he will take extreme measures in defending Earthrealm. In a way, I think Raiden and Liu Kang form some sort of a truce. Raiden won't attack the Netherrealm and Liu Kang won't attack Earthrealm. I say this because obviously the Netherrealm is a threat to Earthrealm, but Raiden doesn't attack the rulers, so it leads me to believe that there was some sort of a truce made between the two. I also think at the end of MK11 there will be a tease of the beginning of Liu Kang's agenda to conquer other realms, because remember, in his ending it states that he will ponder the conquering of other realms. Ponder by definition means to think carefully before making an action. He's not going to immediately attack Earthrealm and go after Raiden just told him he's going to be taking extreme measures to possible threats. That would just be stupid if that were to happen. So shall there be any sort of situation in MK11 where it's a good time to break the truce and start the conquering, and that could be at the end of the story where Raiden is defeated, he's the boss character, or if he loses his power or whatever, that's when I think that little Liu Kang story will start, or not really little, but that little Liu Kang story hint will start. I still think he'll be in MK11, I think he's a lock for that game along with Kitana, but I don't think he'll play a major role. Both of them will obviously show up in a few scenes, but still be on the roster. The last two character endings that I think will be canon are Ermac's and Kitana's. As we all know, in Ermac's ending, Shang Tsung comes back by a small piece of dust that later turned into Shang Tsung by consuming the souls within Ermac. There's nothing much to it, and I think that'll be the way Shang comes back in MK11, and I think we all know he will be back. Now, do I think Ermac will die? I think it's possible, but I don't want to count him out, since if he was going to die, I think the ending itself would have hinted that yes, he's going to die by saying something like, as the dying Ermac stared helplessly, instead of the weakened Ermac. But I don't know, maybe Shang could just take all of his souls and there would just be no more Ermac. I can't say for sure. Lastly, I think Kitana's ending is also canon. In this ending, she had a vision of what would happen if the timeline was not altered during Armageddon. It's revealed that she's the queen of Edenia, Edenia is a peaceful place, and she united the realms to defeat Shao Kahn. Again, this was just a vision given to her by what seems to be a spiritual being in the form of Jade. However, this is actually the mystery woman that we saw in Jade's MK9 ending. This was confirmed by one of the former writers at NetherRealm. In that ending, the mystery woman possessed Jade, and once again, we see her giving visions to Kitana about events that could have happened. I don't have much to theorize when it comes to Kitana's ending, but I do know that it's going to be picked up somehow, since Jade is very likely to come back, and this whole mystery woman has some interesting things coming, which is a mystery itself as to how it could play out in MK11. So there you guys have it. Those are the character endings that I think will play some sort of role in the Mortal Kombat 11 story. I love talking about the Mortal Kombat lore and making theory videos about Mortal Kombat. It's just a wonderful experience exploring that world. So let me know your thoughts on the endings I think are canon, and which ones do you think are canon and will play a part in MK11's story. Share it in the comments below. Be sure to give a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more things Mortal Kombat 11. I'll catch you guys in the next one.